Hello and welcome to the Equine Healing Collaborative's YouTube channel. In this video, we're inviting you to join us for a behind-the-scenes look at group clinical supervision featuring our beloved Nashville. Group clinical supervision is a space where clinicians come together to reflect on cases, practice interventions, and support each other through shared experience as well as collaboration. We'll be showing you how equine-assisted psychotherapy looks in practice and why it is essential for clinicians to engage in the very interventions they offer to others, all while getting nose boops from Nashville. So please sit back and enjoy this glimpse into the healing work that we do together.
And remember, on his hind end, he's pretty arthritic, so you can just tip that foot. He doesn't even need to pick it up. There you go. Perfect. Good.
Okay.
You're okay, buddy.
There you go. Good boy.
During grooming, my client and I take time to check in about how their week has been. This check-in allows us to determine what's been coming up and any step forwards or possible setbacks that a client has noticed. This check-in helps me understand what they might need from today's session and gives us some direction to follow. Grooming creates a natural rhythm that helps clients to regulate, ground themselves, and ease into the work. It also supports a meaningful bond between the horse and the client, building trust and connection, and a sense of safety that is essential for healing.
And I'm going to go ahead and take his halter off, which is essentially where a horse is at liberty. So he is allowed to do whatever he would like to do. And I'm just going to kind of see, kind of where he goes. So without a lot of explanation, I'm just basically going to be inviting you, Kat, to come on into the center of the round pen. And what I'd like to do is I'd like you to close your eyes. You don't have to do it this second, but that's okay. I'm going to have you actually close your eyes, and then I'm going to have you turn around in a circle a few times with your eyes closed. And while keeping your eyes closed, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find Nashville in the round pen. And once you find him, I'm going to actually have you just move him. So again, your eyes are going to be closed. You're going to turn around a few times with your eyes still closed. And with your eyes closed, I'm going to have you find him and then just move him. And I'll be right outside the round pen, and I'm right there. So if you need anything, just please, just give me a shout.
And move him with my eyes closed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Your eyes are going to be closed the whole time.
Okay.
In this intervention, with Kat standing in the center of the round pen and Nashville at liberty, she will be required to use her body and energy in order to find and influence the horse's movement. This kind of exercise increases insight into thoughts and feelings by removing visual cues and encouraging a deeper internal focus. With her eyes closed, Kat is invited to notice what's happening on the inside, emotionally, physically, and mentally, without relying on external feedback. It also fosters mindfulness, requiring her to stay present, connected to her breath, and aware of the subtle shifts in her body and emotions, as well as the shifts of Nashville. Finally, it provides a powerful grounding experience, especially when navigating discomfort or uncertainty. As you can see in this portion of the video, Kat is actually struggling to move the horse. Rather than reacting, she learns to stay with the experience, regulate herself through it, and build trust in her ability to face challenges with calm and intention.
All right. So tell me a little bit about that and kind of what happened in here.
Well, I can't just push him because he's much stronger than me.
Okay.
So I tried that because I know that they'll kind of give a little, but he was really concentrated on the food.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, okay, well, when you lead a horse, you lead him by the face. So then I was like, okay, maybe I'll go like a more gentle route, try to get his attention with his face. And then I felt around for some grass to see if I could entice him. He was like, not about it. He wants the fresh stuff.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, well, this side isn't working. Maybe I'll try another side and try to see if he wants to go, because he was kind of like seemed in that direction. So maybe I could kind of guide him in the direction he was already kind of going, and that seemed to work.
Okay, so you kind of like went with like the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you just really kind of like locked into being flexible in how you approach this. So you thought, well, I'll try and push him, I'll try and pull him. And there was something that was really important that you said about, like his strength and like how powerful he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just wondering, like for you, what are some things that you're kind of facing right now that are a lot more powerful than you?
I mean, a lot of things going on right now. They're a lot more powerful, and there is a hopelessness there. And I think I'm definitely the type of person that like fights and pushes. But I guess from this, like, maybe the lesson would be to like, let's find the path of least resistance, like still pushing and still fighting, but kind of going with the flow a little bit more.
So kind of like channeling your energy.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's really about, sometimes that can be about picking our battles. Sometimes that can be about picking the way that we battle.
Yeah.
Right. And have you noticed yourself, like, as you're kind of like facing some of these things, have you noticed yourself like feeling, you said, like, I feel hopeless.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just wondering, like, in the context of that hopelessness, have you felt like some of the pushing and the pulling that you're trying to do regarding the issue, have you felt like it's like getting you nowhere or getting...
Yeah, at times, but I think the way that I handled this is kind of how I'm like, I just try to figure out like what way to push. And so like really trying to navigate. And so like for me, I was like searching his body for like where he was facing, because with my eyes closed, like I couldn't fully tell. So really figuring out like, okay, at what point do I put pressure? Like where do I put pressure? So it's not just about like how much force you use, it's about where you use that. And so with like the issues going on right now, I think it's the same thing. It's like it's like about finding that sweet spot of like where you hit in order for things to start moving again.
Yeah. And I mean, it took you a little bit of time to get there, right? So you had to really almost like, it's like you almost kind of have to like develop an intimacy with the challenge.
Yeah.
First, because he was like challenging you, and you can't see him. And so you're just like literally having to touch his whole body.
Yeah.
And so like, have you found yourself being able to kind of like develop the intimacy with the challenge that you're facing?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
But it's funny because the first solution that came up in my head when that didn't work, I was like, beep, like, dang it, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And so that I got a little bit of a cynical laugh there, because I was just like, oh man, that didn't work out as planned. So I got to try something else.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm just going to break this here. So just a couple things about like when we're doing some of these, and I'm trying not to yell so that everybody can hear me, but when we're doing these, of course, obviously the challenges that we're facing in our day-to-day life come up. It's almost impossible for it not to. But then also, like when I'm picking and choosing my horse, I need to be, kind of have like a little bit of a goal in mind as far as like what I want to do. And so it's like, I have an awareness of a lot of the things that you're facing right now. And so like, when I think about the horse that I would choose for this activity with you, I need to choose a horse who's not going to move. I need to choose a horse that's not going to give in to pressure as easily, because the issues that you're facing don't give in easily.
No.
Right. And so it's important that like, if we came in here and we did this with a horse who was like super easy peasy, it would just kind of like lose the meaning, and it wouldn't, because the first time that you touch the horse, they would just step off of you. Yeah. And that's not what you're really facing. From a clinical perspective, what this does is this gives the client the capacity and the ability to actually feel what it feels like to actually like literally touch the challenge. Most of the time, most of our problems, most of our, kind of like, I don't know, it's all in the frontal cortex, right? And like a lot of times, because we're human, what we do is when we are faced with some kind of a challenge or some kind of a problem, is we sit and we think about it.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's, and sometimes that's effective, but that can also, I feel like, add to a lot of the helplessness. Whereas like this activity, again, kind of gives you the experience of like, what does it physically feel like to like move this, 1,200 pound animal? And so it kind of changes the whole dynamic of like what that looks like and how that feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add, just as a clinician?
Yeah, I just think that, the cool thing about it is just like the challenges we face in our daily life, like he's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, that's the same thing, like the problems that we face, like things just keep popping up and it gets really overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And like that happens in this, like, so we can't always like fully plan, for how they're going to react to us. And then that's part of like, also like, so we get triggered with the interventions, but we also like, it brings up stuff like, okay, how do we problem solve this?
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to kind of step back and like like you said, like the physical aspect of dealing with it kind of helps purge that.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
And then it kind of inspires like, oh, I dealt with this challenge, this very physical challenge in this way. Like, how can I apply that to like what I'm dealing with at home?
Yeah. So it kind of like ends up empowering you in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, again, like that's what makes equine assisted psychotherapy so effective, is that people like literally get to like walk out of here with not only like just like the skill set, like there's definitely a skill to it, but I think of it as like more of like the feeling that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we get to like move with that feeling. So again, this intervention is used to increase insight, increase being grounded, and also like a sense of mindfulness. When we think about mindfulness is not clearing your mind or being in this amazing spiritual high spot. It's just basically mindfulness is just about having an awareness about what's happening. And I feel like we met those objectives.
Yeah, and problem solving.
Yes, it does that too. It absolutely, well, and I think that's like the insight piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do I approach this, or how do I problem solve that? So anyways, that's this intervention. We will be posting more interventions. So I would strongly suggest that you guys stay tuned, because we'll be posting one of these every week. We'll have different therapists who will be participating in our role plays, just so that you guys can have a better idea about what it is that we do out here. The last thing that I'll mention, and you will hear me mention this a lot in all of our future videos, is that this is exactly why we don't ride our horses. It is so important that our horses are able to respond in a very organic way. And so Nashville did exactly what Nashville needed to do, wanted to do in that minute. And Nashville gave you exactly what you need. And so if a horse is trained to do this, or if a horse, is in a position where like that choice or that consent is taken away, then we really don't get that organic feel. All right, that's it. Thank you. Bye, you two. No, don't leave me.
Here, stay here with me. Hi. You have to tell all the YouTube people that they have to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Can you tell everybody that? Okay, good job.
This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for clinical training or supervision. Please do not use this content to practice psychotherapy without appropriate credentials, training, and oversight. Always seek the guidance from a licensed mental health professional or qualified supervisor when providing therapeutic services.